Y'all, I have counted and I am on week 31 of writing my first novel. Like, that blows my mind. 31 kind of feels like a small number until you realize for every 31 there are 7 days included, right? And then for every 4 of those, it's actually a whole month. I've been working on this book for a very long time, and it feels so good and feels so exciting. But in doing something for that long, there have been so many different seasons of different things that have tried to make me inconsistent with my writing. I've realized so proud of how consistent I have actually been in writing this book. So today, what I've been thinking about all week is just what was it that has kept me so consistent? And I have had one of my businesses, I have a coaching business. I have coached hundreds of people and helping them be consistent in reaching their goal. And as I've gone through writing this book, I've had to self-coach a lot in order to keep myself consistent. So I want to share with you today the 4 things that keep you from being consistent that I have found after coaching hundreds of people, and then also share with you what are the things that I'm doing to stay consistent. And then also share with you what are the things that I'm doing, like the nuanced exact strategies that I am using to stay consistent in writing this book. Hi, I'm Kayla. I am a newbie writer writing my debut book, which is a young adult dystopian fantasy based on my experience in growing up in and getting out of poverty. It's been so much fun to work on that. And while I am identifying as a writer, I am vlogging all about this, it isn't the only thing that I do. My full-time job is I run my own business. Well, I'm kind of a multi-hyphenate, which, I love that word, but it is so true. But I am also the proud owner of a coaching business, something I've been doing since 2019. And in that time, I have coached hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on all different things. Like, I started out with a health coaching business, very successful in helping people just like quit following all the shoulds and the rules and get consistent with their health so they can get the results that they want. I moved into coaching other coaches and helping them create the business that they want and be successful with that. Worked on also their coaching skills. And then now I have a coaching community where I help people achieve any goal and be consistent with anything. So consistency is kind of my thing. So what I have found over this time of coaching hundreds of people on their health, on their businesses, on social media, on their relationships with other people, is that there's 4 main reasons why we are inconsistent with whatever we're trying to do. And I'm going to talk about these through the lens of me writing this book, but really they can be related to anything. Like, these are universal. The very first one is our why. So often we don't show up for the things that we say we're going to do because our why, our reason isn't strong enough. And so for me, when I think about writing this book, my why is just embedded in me so strong because it is based on my experience in getting out of poverty and what I want to do. Before I started my own business, I was an elementary school teacher. I saw how powerful books were for kids, and I specifically worked in low income because I wanted to help be a role model for kids like me who had parents who were working multiple jobs, or maybe who had parents who, a lot of times families end up in low income because their parents make other decisions that aren't helpful to their environment. So I grew up in an unstable home with abuse, drug use, alcoholism, all of those types of things. And so I also want to be a role model for that. And so this book series for me is going to be a way to role model for kids, a way that they can see a mirror and see optimism, see that they can get out and that their life can change. So my why is like so grounded in this. If you are writing a book and your why is just like, it sounds like fun, it's going to be hard to show back up. I used to see this a lot in like weight loss too. People would have a why. They're like, my why is to lose 20 pounds. And like, when you have to work out or meal prep, thinking about 20 pounds is not very motivating. But thinking about, when you lose 20 pounds, you're going to easily take the stairs. Thinking about how hard it was to bring your groceries up, like, that is motivating. Thinking about being able to lift your kids to go play at the zoo and look at the elephants, that is motivating. So when we think about being consistent, we want to have a really strong why. So if you ever find yourself being inconsistent, that's the very first thing that I always analyze. And what's really important and really powerful is if our why is off, it often means maybe now isn't even the time to work on that project. I had been thinking about writing a book for a decade, and not until this year did it hit me, did my why land about why I felt so powerful to do it, because I was then ready. That doesn't mean that I was never going to do it. It just meant that before it wasn't the time. And I'm so glad that I waited, because the way this book is turning out is phenomenal. So that's number one. The number one reason why people are not consistent is because of their why. The second reason why people are inconsistent is because they're doing too much too soon. They are completely overwhelmed, right? So this is like that week, if you guys remember, if you've been watching for a while, where I tried to write every single day in the very beginning, and I was like, and it just crashed my brain. And it was just not something that I could access back then. That was too much too soon. I see it again in so many other things, people starting their business and they're like, I'm gonna start posting on TikTok every single day and on Instagram every single day. And then I'm gonna also write a funnel. And then I'm also gonna host a free masterclass. And then I'm also gonna coach all these people. And then I'm also gonna build a course. Nah, too much too soon. So I have this whole system that I use called the nudge system, where I help create that. And we work on picking what are the things with the biggest ROI that you do first, right? And so that is the next thing that keeps people from being consistent. Is always comes from a good place. It comes from a place of excitement, is that they just want to do it so much that they get so excited. They start out fast, they try to do all the things, and they just burn out and crash. So implementing my nudge system is something that's helped a lot of people. And the basics of that is figuring out what to start with, and then when to add the next layer, and figuring out which thing will come in order. So for me, it was really looking at like, okay, nudging up to, I didn't even know what I was doing as a writer. So starting with 1 day a week as my expectation, then moving up to 2. Then it was like, oh, starting to flexibly be like, maybe I can write multiple times a day, trying all of these different things. So I was like nudging up to growing my identity as a writer. I started with 1 day a week, then 2 days a week. Then I started a Substack. So now I'm writing my book and my Substack, right? And then I do 2 Substack posts a week. So those things have just grown, and they've stayed consistent because I didn't try to do it all at once. The third thing that's very common is that we try to do things from should. We do things we think we should. I think that this is so easy. It's like we see somebody who's doing something, doing it well and getting results, and we're like, if I do it exactly like Susan, I'll get results too. And it's just not true. So I think in writing, one of the things that looked like was, I feel like I need this multi-step routine in order to get into the vibe of writing. I have to light my candle. Like somebody asked me that the other day, do you like light your candle and make a certain drink? And I'm like, no, I just write, right? And so feeling like these shoulds, if I was like going out of my way to do all these things I think I have to, then one, they're probably not even things I like. And I think about this so much with starting a business. When I first started my business, I had a mentor, and this is where I learned this, who wanted me to cold DM people. And I was like morally, like as an educator, all of like my philosophies for how I teach, how I change people's lives do not count cold DMing people trying to convince them to do something, because I firmly believe that autonomy is key, and cold DMs take away autonomy. Anyways, another conversation for another time. But every time she'd check in with me, she'd be like, how many DMs did you send? And I'm like, 2. And she's like, I thought you were gonna send 100. And I was like, yeah, well, because I hated it, because I was only doing it because it was a should. And so we don't want to be doing things because we think we should. Those are not aligned actions, and those make us inconsistent, right? We need to make sure that we're choosing aligned actions and things that we like. There are zillions of ways to do everything. There are zillions of ways to get new clients. There are zillions of ways for me to set myself up for writing success in a way that I like. I don't have to write at 5 a.m. I don't have to have a 12-step process. I can write just like I like after breakfast, for an hour, 2 hours, whatever feels good to me. I get to determine that. And so when we try to do a should, it often is just a barrier to us even showing up at all, because we don't like it. It's not fun. It's not even our idea. And then the last thing that is most common for people in not being consistent is that it doesn't actually fit their life. So again, this could be like thinking, and oh my goodness, we see this in working out all the time. Everyone thinks they have to work out before work in the morning. And I'm like, do you even like to wake up early? They're like, no, I hate it. And I'm like, then how about we work out in the evening when you like it, right? Or I found for myself, I'm running a half marathon this weekend, and it's like, I would want to say, okay, I'm gonna run my long run every Sunday morning. Okay, but every Saturday night I stay up late. It doesn't fit my life. And I can choose any other day to do my long run. So the same thing with my writing, I've had to really say, how will this already fit my life? Like back before when I wanted to write every day, that didn't fit my life because I have another business, because I have other things that I do, right? And so I had to be really thoughtful about how does this writing that I'm doing fit into the life that I currently have and the life that I want to have and the life and the way that I want to live. And so that has been probably one of the biggest things, and the trickiest part for me is how does it fit into my life? That's like the number of hours I can write in a day, what days I do, and how I manage my schedule, where on Tuesdays it's largely a heavy client day, Wednesdays largely a heavy client day, which means Mondays get to be a heavy writing day, which means Thursdays today get to be a heavy writing day, and then Friday is everything. And so as I look at and test and find out, I get to see what fits my life best. So when you are being consistent with your writing, with anything, think about those things. Your why, is it strong? Are you doing something that you feel like you should? Does it fit your life? And are you just doing too much too fast? Those are the things that you want to analyze and check on in order to be consistent. The thing that's been really powerful for me since this is brand new is viewing it all as an experiment. And I think that even if you are doing something, and doing something brand new, I've really viewed this as a complete experiment. And honestly, that's wrong to say because it's brand new, I'm looking at it that way. That is how I view everything in life, is that we should always be like a scientist. We should always be learning, gathering data, using that data to then update, refine, and make changes until we're more efficient, more productive, feel more happy, and getting all of those feelings and results that we want. And so I think the thing that comes most importantly with that is I didn't beat myself up if something didn't work. If there was a week where I missed writing, I didn't beat myself up. And so I'd constantly been getting information and data and using that. I realized that I don't like actually physically writing late night or into the evening unless I'm continuing a streak that I've already been writing or using. Then that's different. So I don't plan, because of that data, I don't plan to write in the evening. I plan to write in the morning. I also find that I don't wake up at 6 a.m. when I wake up ready to write either. I like to do other things. I'm inspired for a little bit more like logistical things. So then I know that I like to write in the middle of the day. I found that I normally don't write for over 4 hours. So I never really put on my calendar a block of time to write that's longer than 3 to 4 hours, because I find that my brain starts to get stale. The writing that comes out is just like plain sentences, and if anything at all. And so those are things that as I'm going, I'm seeing it as an experiment, I'm gathering the data, and I'm refining. The reason why that feels so important with this being brand new is that of course everything is new data, but as I continue to go, I'm still going to find the same thing. I'm finding that and this comes to the next point, is I'm very flexible with allowing for creativity. So the first thing was I looked at it as an experiment. And then the second thing that I've been doing is being really flexible with my creativity. I'm finding what creates my creativity. Is it lighting a candle? Is it making a special drink? No, though I do love my eggnog latte today because it's the season. What I'm finding is that if my creativity gets stale, I need to leave the house, and I embrace that and I say, hey, that is the most important thing. If my brain's still, then I go work in a cafe, then I go on a walk. But I'm realizing that allowing for my creativity and making it important and making that like the frequency of my creativity at which I live on as super valuable, and curating that has been really important. That means I'm getting movement every day. Doesn't mean I'm doing like a hard workout every day, but at least going on a walk. I'm getting outside every day. I realize those things keep my brain stimulated, and that keeps me consistent, because if I stopped going outside, if I stopped, there are some days where I got so excited to write that I'd take 3 days off from really any movement, and then it would stifle my brain. So even though it doesn't feel like on Monday what I do on Monday affects my writing on Wednesday because of keeping up my movement and those things. So I've been keeping my creativity and those things that fuel my creativity, those small things, important, and doing those because it keeps me consistent, because it helps me show up later, if that makes sense. And I've also been allowing it to flow when it flows. The other night I had a great idea at 7:30 p.m. and I grabbed my sticky notes and I started writing everything down and I save it. And that's been really powerful too, because even just writing pen to paper and allowing for that creativity to come and not just stifling, being like, it's evening, we're just on the couch, I don't need to do that. No, I do it and I allow for that to be part of my process. So I'm really also been allowing for that flow of creativity and doing those things that I know keep me creative, keeps me consistent with my writing. One of the other things that's been really, really helpful, and this is I always call this like an honorable mention, where there's 4 things that keep people from being consistent. There's some honorable mentions that help people stay consistent already, regardless of those blocks. And one of those is our stakeholders. And I lean on that. I mean, I have accountability with you guys. I feel like you are all stakeholders in my writing, that I want to come here and publish a vlog once a week. My husband is a massive stakeholder in my writing. I've asked him very specifically. So it's not like he's just there cheering me on, but he knows specifically that if my brain is feeling stale, he'd be like, hey, you should go to a cafe, because sometimes it's hard for me to say, I should get out of the house. Getting a coffee is like $12 in New York, like all of these things. And he's like, no, it's worth it. Go, or go on a walk, or have you gone on a walk today? Like my accountability partners, my stakeholders, I communicate with them exactly what it is my expectations are for myself and what I need and reminders that I need. So often we want people to support us, but one of the things that I've helped so many people with in being consistent is how to communicate with their stakeholders in order to help them keep you accountable. And so that's something that I've really, really leaned on in both the ways that I want support, in the ways I want celebration, in the ways I want to be motivated, and then in the problem solving that I want to use in order to stay consistent with my writing. Then I will say the last thing has really been my mindset. And I made a video on this that had to do with my schedule and how I was like, I finally figured out my schedule. And in that, if I'll just do a little tangent, is I had mentioned about the schedule and said, now that I have this mindset shift, I feel like I could even write every day, and I'm already seeing where my schedule is evolving. I'm gonna have to do another week of writing and what it looks like every day. But my schedule is evolving, and that feels really, really good because of this mindset shift. So I think looking at everything like a science experiment is a mindset that I think is really important because it's really flexible. But the other thing is this mindset shift of writing is my priority. And I think so often we want things to be important to us, and we want, again, that goes back to the why. So this mindset comes from that really. But what was hard for me in the beginning was I had everything feeling like equally important and my equal priorities. I have clients that I support. I have my coaching community that I run. I'm building this new course, which I'll tell you about. And then I also am writing this book. And most of the time I made all of the other things my priority, and then I would get to writing. And so there were a lot of days if I got excited about this new course that I was creating, or excited about a project for a client, or excited about getting a new client, things like that, it would put my book on the back burner. And what I even found was there are some clients I've had quite a few inquiries for the remainder of the year. And there are some clients that I feel like I want to say no to because depending on how our packages turn out and everything, because I want to make sure that there's time for my book, because I'm looking at my book in a different sort of priority. It's no longer a side thing. It is the thing that's important to me, that is lighting me up, that is making me excited. So it is a priority, which means when something comes up and I have writing on my schedule for Thursday from 1 to 3, nothing else goes over that. There's no other meeting or something else that's more important. And that mindset shift has been so valuable in keeping me consistent, because it just helps avoid any other block that I'm going to put in the way, right? Just like I remember when I was doing competitive bodybuilding, I never missed a workout because nothing ever blocked my workout. If somebody was like, hey, want to go to happy hour? I'm like, sorry, I have a workout at that time, but I will meet you after my workout and come late to happy hour instead of, skipping my workout to go on time or whatever it is. And so, not that I give up my life for it, but I don't let it interrupt what I already had going on. And I think that's been a big thing that has helped me stay more consistent. And so if consistency, you feel like whether you're writing a book or doing whatever it is, that's the course that I'm actually building out, because I have courses specific to health, I have courses specific to coaching. But what I realized between both of those things that is the universal thing that makes people successful in their health, that makes people successful with running their coaching business, is understanding their why, is understanding the aligned actions that they need to take, is understanding the things that are getting in their way so they stay consistent. So what I've done is I've created an audio course. So it's like a private podcast where you get to get in and listen to me help you through each of these different roadblocks, describing them way more in depth than I did now, and giving you the steps and questions for you to answer, and the scaffolds and worksheets and journal prompts for you to actually get through those things. So I have 6 lessons that get you through those honorable mentions and those 4 reasons why consistency is something that's been sticky for you. And then there's a troubleshooting module. So everybody who gets into and joins my consistency course will also get a month free inside my coaching community. And so you get me then helping you through your exact thing that you need consistency with. So when you join this course, what would be really beneficial is if you bring, hey, I'm trying to write my book and I can't get fucking consistent. Or, hey, I'm trying to lose weight and I've been trying to do it for 10 years and I can't get consistent. Hey, I've been trying to do social media for my business and I can't seem to stay consistent with it. To bring that issue, and we will run it through those 6 different live lessons, then you and I will help create a plan that's going to keep you consistent, that gets through all of those different blocks. And once you buy this once, you'll be able to use those 6 lessons to run it through everything ever again. You get it forever and ever and ever. I'm a believer that life is an open book test, so you get to keep these resources and use them over and over and over. So then I'll also be making a troubleshooting module that will be live. So if someone says, hey, my partner doesn't want to help me, then I'm going to create an audio for you to listen to that will troubleshoot that issue of how do we get our partners to help you. Hey, I got sick. That doesn't feel like something that was planned in my nudges, blah, 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 blah. What can I do? Then I will create that troubleshooting module or lesson for you there. So it's not just the 6 lessons. I don't have 6 fingers. 6 lessons, but there will also be troubleshooting made live in response to the things that you need, because you are telling me them because you're inside my coaching community. So I'm really, really excited about this. Super affordable. It's only $197. And you get to keep it forever and ever and ever, and you get a free month inside Collab, which is already $97 on itself. So you're basically getting 50% for free. Or I'll put the link in the description box down below. But these are the things that have helped me stay consistent in writing this book for the very first time, and also running the businesses that I had, and also staying relevant on my social media, and starting a Substack while starting YouTube. These strategies are the things that have helped me do that, will continue to keep my income and increase my income, and also increase my joy in life. And I want them for you too. So I know this video was helpful, and I know that getting in that course will be even more helpful with my hands-on, your brain, getting you there.